We have U.S. intelligence, and they said this isn't a secret. When they call up, we write a report, we send it to Trump, they check it, they go. I mean, and it's not like they're patting us on the head. They really know we're out here as HUMAT for the president, human intelligence.
I've got buddies who work Secret Service for him and who work for Pompeo and things like that. I mean, they say that he is one of the greatest guys they've ever had the pleasure of working with. Anyone who's ever been around this guy, like especially from that aspect, said it's a complete and total joy, their job now.
I'm sure they do love their job now. Welcome to another powerful episode of the Codex. Welcome to the ultimate knowledge, the ultimate source of information. Yes, I'm sure you're aware that Zero Hedge posted the portrait of a social credit score for China over there. Notice how it says acts of dishonesty and kids barred from elite schools. Now, notice that acts of dishonesty there. That's pretty much, technology that's able to read your mind. Incredible. Look at this. A next generation artificial intelligence development plan. Oh, look at some dates here. We got competitors by 2020, AI fields by 2025, and 2030. Oh, all up in your face. Look at that. The plan also lays out the government's intentions to recruit the world's best AI talent, strengthen the AI domestic behavior, whatever. 3-year plans, focus on development intelligence, improvement of environment of development. Notice how Israel's missing from this list.
Netanyahu 2019 Bloomberg Innovation Index was just published. It ranks economies according to the level of innovation. Israel is a rising global power. How the small state of Israel is becoming a high-tech superpower.
We are coloring the world blue. All these countries are coming to us. India, China, Mongolia, Kazakhstan, all of them. Azerbaijan, Muslim countries. So we're coloring the world blue. And you know what? The numbers, you remember people talked about Israel's isolation? Remember that? Israel's isolation? Pretty soon, the countries that don't have relations with us, they're going to be isolated.
Several years ago, to turn Israel into one of the 5 cyber powers of the world, and that required allowing this combination of military intelligence, academia, and industry to converge in one place. Our NSA, which is called Unit A200, it's pretty big. How big do you think it is?
How big do you think it is?
America, the United States, is about 42 times the size of Israel.
Business is booming.
So how much bigger do you think the American NSA is relative to the Israeli NSA? It's not even 10 times bigger. You know the 5 eyes? Israel is the 6th eye? No, Israel is the 2nd eye.
Israel is the 2nd eye. Har Habayit Be'adenu. The Temple Mount is in our hands.
There have been at least a dozen Jewish rabbis that have said the Messiah is on earth now. He's been identified. He is soon going to make himself known. In the Jewish mindset, for the Messiah to arrive, you can't think of him like we think of Messiah. We think of Messiah after the model of Jesus. He's the Son of God, divine birth, all of that. That's not the way the Jews look at the Messiah. They're looking for a king. They're looking for a political leader. As a matter of fact, Messiah to them means the anointed one, and it goes back to the ancient days when they would anoint a king and recognize him as this is the man that God sent. I'm not saying that they think he is the Messiah. What I actually think is that most of the rabbis there think he's John the Baptist, and the Messiah is about to appear. He's the forerunner. He's the guy that's going to start the message in the wilderness, and the Messiah is going to come in on his heel.
Any maybe leader that would be raised up, or somebody that would be able to bring the nations together, especially those who might align with Israel, that there might be some agreement that the temple could exist there, and this person could be set up in the temple. What we know is that's probably going to be a false Messiah, because as we read in the book of Daniel, that there's a false Messiah that's going to make a peace agreement. And so that's the potential, is that something would be built for the false Messiah.
President Trump is starting a prophetic process by moving the American embassy to Jerusalem. Just like King Cyrus 2,500 years ago said, he charged me to build a house in Jerusalem. Here again, President Trump is building a house in Jerusalem.
Do you really consider the embassy move as just one step in the direction of building the temple? It's a huge step. It's not just a step, it's a huge step.
From these donations are going to be used for the rebuilding and education of the Third Temple. The temple belongs to everybody, to the Jewish nation, but also to the whole world. 3 languages, in Hebrew, in English, and in Arabic. So we're starting with the people of Israel, we're starting maybe with the Trump base, but I'm sure that maybe through Trump, everybody will understand not how Donald Trump is important, but how important Jerusalem and the temple is for the whole world. This president, he understood. When nobody else understood, he understood we're not talking politics. We're not talking politics. We're talking Torah. We're talking prophets. That's what it's all about. And once we understand it, and I think he understood it, maybe he can't say it, but he knows. And he's pushing us.
Everybody will support building the Third Temple.
Reveal, Jared, how long we've known you? Well, he was never small. He was always big. He was always tall. But
The relationship between Israel and America is stronger than ever, and we really thank Prime Minister Netanyahu for his leadership and his partnership.
Thank you. Thank you.
Striking news. The whole world is watching. The course of human history is changed today.
Look, I'm not here to be trusted.
Can you see a guy at about 4,000 feet, about 5 east of your airport right now? Looks like he's... Yeah, that's him. That's another situation. What kind of airplane is that? Can you guys tell? I don't know. I'll read it out in a minute.
About 10 days after 9/11, I went through the Pentagon and I saw Secretary Rumsfeld and Deputy Secretary Wolfowitz.
This is not an Islamic act that was conducted.
So I went downstairs just to say hello to some of the people on the Joint Staff who used to work for me, and one of the generals called me and he said, "Sir, you gotta come in. You gotta come in and talk to me a second." I said, "Well, you're too busy." He said, "No." He says, "We've made the decision. We're going to war with Iraq." I said, "We're going to war with Iraq. Why?" He said, "Oh, sir," he says, "it's worse than that." He pulled up a piece of paper off his desk. He said, "I just got this memo from the Secretary of Defense's office that says we're going to attack and destroy the governments in 7 countries in 5 years. We're going to start with Iraq, and then we're going to move to Syria."
The Syrian government was responsible for this attack on its own people.
Lebanon, Libya.
We came, we saw, we died.
Somalia.
Now to the U.S. drone strike taking out militants from the terror group Al-Shabaab in Somalia.
Sudan.
Leaders of South Sudan have to live up to their responsibilities.
And Iran.
Policy of the United States of America should be the overthrow of the mullah's regime in Tehran.
For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence.
We face a hostile ideology, global in scope, atheistic in character, ruthless in purpose, and insidious in method.
It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations.
In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
Today, no war has been declared, and however fierce the struggle may be, it may never be declared in the traditional fashion.